now rocking with TDF everything. Spoiled Rotten.
Spoiler alert.
Welcome and welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
It's me, Daniel,
And this is Ban.
on Spoiled Rotten. And today, of course, we will spoil the first 3 episodes of Ironheart. But I do think it's important to kind of set expectations for what's going to be going on, especially since Ironheart's last 3 episodes are airing next week. We are going to be doing the last season of Superman and Lois, just to tie that off before we cover Superman, the movie. And then we will cover part 2 of Ironheart. So we might have some lukewarm takes, but we also probably will have more fully fleshed out thoughts.
Yeah,
I get to the second half.
I'm not entirely sure that we're gonna have lukewarm takes. I think we're gonna have very, very good discussions based on what.
That is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I mean, this, I haven't seen the second half. I've only seen the 3 episodes that all the rest of the normies have seen.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to make sure people understood the schedule moving forward, that you will not get the next 3 episodes this week next week or the week after. We've got back-to-back Superman episodes for you there.
That's right, baby. Lots of Superman.
All right. Ironheart, first 3 episodes. This is just to get it out there. The first 3 episodes are involved in Riri Williams being kicked out of MIT and needing money to continue to fund her. I mean, much like Tony Stark, her meticulous, I need to keep working and working on a suit. So she's still trying to figure that stuff out, and she gets into she's in cahoots with the Hoods gang, which is a wild cast. Like, I mean that in a good way. Like, I'm like, wow, like these are all people that I wouldn't expect to be in Marvel, only because it's like, wow, how did they get this person to do this?
Yeah.
And I'm not even thinking of Eric Andre right off the bat, but like, yeah, Eric Andre's in this group, but like there's the guy, I wish I knew his name, I'll look it up, but one, Anthony Ramos from Hamilton, but Manny Montana, that's the guy. Manny Montana, that's his name. I know him from a show where Christina Hendricks robs a grocery store for money, and then she gets into cahoots with him. So it's he's in it. There's women from Glow. There's women. There's a person from a movie I really like, Talk to Me.
Yeah.
There's people from, not necessarily in the crew now, but just in the cast, people from This Is Us. It is a very exciting cast. But anyway, yeah, that's where Riri Williams is. She's in the Hood's crew, and basically the 3 episodes kind of come down to the different heists they pull, and Riri Williams needing to understand the Hood better and like what's going on with him, while also dealing with the death of her stepfather and best friend, who she has turned into AI, which I like a lot because in the comics that AI was Tony Stark, so I like that they invested in Riri's world and didn't try to, obviously he's brought up a lot, but he's not in the show like that. Not that I thought he would be, but I like their solve for that.
Yeah. No, I like what they're doing with it, and it's just, the first episode's really, really exciting. I just like the whole, like, I every time I see Jim Rash, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Right. I mean, he's already in MC, so I shouldn't be like, well, but yeah, he's back.
He's back. Guy. He's having fun. He's doing his thing at MIT and all
really
that kind of stuff.
In this one.
Yeah.
Like, wait, why is he like? I get it. He hurt his arm, right? Like, Riri gets kicked out of MIT because she gets a little too cocky with her experiments and it blows up.
Well, not necessarily. She violates a plagiarism kind of thing more than anything else.
Yeah, but she injured. That's. I feel like what I felt was the actual underpinning of this was they focused on his sling so much that that is his issue, because it didn't
Yes.
really feel like he went into that being like, let me hear her out. He went into it like, I'm going to make her suffer for
Yes.
what she did to me. And
Absolutely.
the other woman who brings up many good points during the conversation is the
Hmm.
one that's like, you were literally breaking the rules with plagiarism. But I
Yeah.
feel like the direction of the that scene made me feel like his thing is, no, you hurt me.
Yes. His
Your
thing. Yeah.
your inability to make yourself smaller has hurt me, so now you're out.
Yeah, that 100%. That and then there's also the underpinning of like she says this really, really quick, and obviously this is probably what the board of directors is coming down on her for. The dean, that is that she mentions the property damage, which is of course usually what is the tipping point in these kind of things. It's
Yeah,
like how dare you damage property? Like it would like for Jim Rash's thing, it would have been like you injured me, but like
yeah.
the real reason is again property
Property
damage
damage. Yeah, like I
more
don't
so than anything
think
else.
the plagiarism really. I think that's just, unfortunately, she handed that one to them. I think
Correct.
that
Yes.
you're right that property damage and the personal damage is more what's getting her kicked out here.
Hmm.
But I did like that in that scene, uh, specifically, Riri calls out like, "You guys want me to be small," and the black
Hmm.
woman is like, It's important to me that she's black. I'm not just trying
Yes.
to be like the black woman." Was like, that's not true at all. Like,
Yeah.
literally name one person that asked you to do that. That's
Yeah.
bullshit. And I'm actively here trying to help you not be small.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she lists off all the things, the different ways of how the school has actually catered to her, Riri,
Hmm.
and all this kind of stuff. And I really, really like that because it's just every now and then you'll get someone that's like, yeah, I'm gonna play the victim card right now. And then someone in a position that sees right through that is like, nah, you ain't gonna do that
She's
because
like,
this
no,
is the
I went
reality.
through that so that you don't have to, basically. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's a really good scene, and I appreciate the fact that it is a black woman that does it too, because I'm like, I would only respect a black woman calling her out in
hmm
that way.
yeah. It
Not
means
anyone
something
else.
else. Like, she
Yes.
doesn't have to say everything that we're saying. You're
Hmm.
like, she's a black woman. She definitely understands what Riri's saying and would be in a better position to be like, that's bullshit.
Yeah, because it is. It is to all extent. It's like, yeah, they built up these programs, they did all these kind of things. It's just that it gets to a point where I'm like, yeah, the people trying to hold you up are disappointed in you, and
Hmm.
that's the problem right now.
Like, I don't think Jim Rash is trying to hold her up, but
No.
uh, the point of the scene to me was that there is someone there who is actively working to see her succeed.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, yeah, I think another big thing I liked about the show
Hmm.
was, even though it feels a bit smaller scale than I thought it would be, I'm like, I like that they're focusing on Williams and her world. It feels like Ms. Marvel in the sense that they're like, here's a new younger character,
Hmm.
and we want you to be invested in what she likes and the people in her life. Like, the same way Ms. Marvel had her family that we also get invested in. You
Hmm.
definitely get invested in Natalie. I feel like I can be invested in her mom. That's the other person who's like, who plays her auntie, not actually relation related, I don't think, is
Hmm.
Cree Summer. And I'm like, holy shit, like, what a get. I can't believe she hasn't been in an MCU thing before now.
Hmm.
But yeah, the I'm invested in her mom, Natalie, as her AI, and
Hmm.
even that guy friend that she bought the headphones for. I'm like, yeah, like, what's this guy about? I'm interested in this.
Hmm.
Um, it, it is. I remember thinking like, I don't know about her in Wakanda Forever. On paper, I understand why she's there because, as I've said many times, you need to show that the Wakandans acknowledge that they left Black Americans specifically out of their plans, and so
Yes.
they can't afford to do that again.
Hmm.
But I was just like, and so I like that this show isn't just dealing with what happened in Wakanda. She's like, yeah, that was my internship, and we're dealing with something very specific to her, which is her stepdad and best friend got killed in a drive-by shooting.
Hmm. Hmm. And it's really important because I've seen a lot of like commentary on this character of Riri and all this kind of stuff because you know how like a lot of Twitter or a lot of like
social media. Yeah,
social media really likes to come down on like black women and leads and all this kind of stuff.
women
They're
leads,
just
but definitely if
yeah,
it's a black female, like
yeah,
black woman lead, then you're
absolutely.
fucked. Yeah,
And they're just immediately writing her off and all this kind of stuff. And the term narcissist is thrown at her. I'm like, Tony Stark was a narcissist. Like y'all rallied behind him. Like this is
and I
a,
feel
a
like it's important to. No, I'm not saying this is for
mhm.
you. I'm saying for people who say
Yes.
that, who I don't believe are saying it in good faith, but the people who listen to that and
Mhm.
take it as serious, is she's very clearly pointing out that money is a factor in this. She
Yes.
wouldn't be like this if she had the money to just do what she wants.
Yep. And the reason why I bring this up is because I'm like, it's a very clear commonality in all the people that are throwing this label onto her and clearly misunderstanding the class war element
Mm-hmm.
within this show. I'm just like, okay, this is just a lot of white people again being going like, oh, you can't do this, and here's the laird and all that kind of stuff, but and throwing all around all these terms, and I'm like, I think this show is actively showing you that she's not by the fact that she's working through it. Because one of the biggest things is like, yeah, okay, she's not dealing with her trauma and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
being the stepfather and or Natalie being killed in the drive-by. And that's what this is showing you. And even like the idea that what is it, Iron Man 2? Or like Iron Man 3,
Three.
where it's like
Three's the one where he's got the shock or the PTSD from
no, no, no,
when
not the PTSD. I'm talking about
oh, when he's
the
dying.
no, 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 no. The tech that Mysterio creates that he calls like $1 billion
Okay.
kind
Oh,
of
that's from Civil War.
therapy thing. Yeah, from sorry, Civil War, where he calls it basically that tech for Civil War, therapy experiment and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, you have to fundamentally see the resources that he had to work through all those kind of things to not be a malignant one, but this is someone without resources trying to work through the same things and not having the kind of resources and guides to in order to do it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
fundamentally, I think this is, yeah, if you're premature and want to throw around terms like the internet really likes to do with the term narcissist, then it's just like, yeah, we're really not looking at this properly because this is a situation where it's like, okay, you could have someone born of trauma in that kind of regard, but not have the right things around them to support them, and that's usually what's being spoken about right here. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a very, very important thing to highlight is that we can't throw around these terms until she at least gets the end of the season. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous what
Yeah,
they're doing.
I agree with you that you would need to see what happens because right now
Mhm.
she still has the defense of I need to be this way to get done what I need to get done.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, we'll see. And I do think that's also a cool thing that the second Han Solo is in it, and he's obviously. I'm interested to see what they do with him, but for now, he's kind of like her conscience, and I'm trying to egg her
Mhm.
on to be. Natalie is too. I don't mean to diminish her role, but
Mhm.
in terms of people she engages with a bit more respect, and she doesn't really give him a lot of respect, but I guess the respect is she treats him like a human. Is that he's constantly like, "Why are you building this suit?" And
Mhm.
the at least for me very poorly guarded secret was Alden Ehrenreich is playing Obadiah Stane's son,
Right.
and so he at this point in the show is very much like, I don't like when people want to build suits like this. Like that's how
Mhm.
my dad went out,
Yep.
and I don't really respect that. So what I need to know the why. He's not necessarily like, "Hey, don't do this," but he is like, "Why are you doing it?"
Mhm.
And she gives him the answer that her stepdad gave of because I can to be
Mhm.
standoffish.
Yep.
But then he pushes back later on, not the first time, the second time he asks, and he's like, "No, that's not enough." Like you need, and so I like that he's pushing her, and it's
Mhm.
revealing stuff I'm sure people could intuit if they're not going into it being like, I don't like that this is female led,
Yep.
but I like that it's opportunities to highlight how she is different and how she may not necessarily be just the same as Tony Stark.
And it's I think it's important to recognize that her blackness is it's an important characteristic in this, in the
Hmm.
sense where you can be white and do all these things in public and be seen as, oh, you're strong for doing this and all that kind of stuff, but as a black woman doing all that kind of stuff, the same kind of things in public, no, she would be like really just torn apart and like I don't know what the tarred and feathered, so to
Hmm.
speak, but like it would not do the same thing. So she's got to put on that front of strength of all this kind of stuff because that is what is expected of her and from society as well as
Hmm.
herself and all this kind of stuff. And it's in a situation where the Ezekiel Stain character that it's like, okay, you and I both can recognize the traumas that we both have and can lighten that down a little bit. But to the general population, it's just like, no, I'm gonna be what people consider to be confrontational but that's
Which
really a
is,
defense
yeah,
mechanism.
which is why he's a nice foil to her, because
Exactly.
when you meet him, he's like, oh, like, your dog's pooing on my lawn, to his neighbor, not to Riri.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's going out of his way to not be antagonistic at all or show
correct.
any type of backbone,
Hmm.
which I like that a lot of, even though it's only 3 episodes, a lot, I mean, in a 6 episode season, but still only 3 episodes. And I
Hmm.
like the progression of their relationship to where she tells him, like, no, you should stop asking for things and just telling people, like, what's. And so
Hmm.
then he was like, does tomorrow work? No, tomorrow does work for you. You will be
Yeah,
coming over at 6 a.m. Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's giving a little bit of the Tony and Steve Rogers kind of connection where it's like they learn from each other toward the end
Or
in Endgame
Tony
too.
and Bruce, like how
Yes.
he likes to push Bruce to, like, hey, why are you
Hmm.
hiding that you could beat all of us up, or like you turn into a big green monster,
Yeah,
um, which I feel like doesn't really last past Iron Man 3, but still I like
yeah,
that
it's true.
their relationship that way.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of good parallels here based on what we have seen from previous Marvel properties, and they're fast tracking developing it in a different way, and I think that's really really good. I really enjoying the show. And especially because the first heist in episode two, where they're basically taking down like,
Or like that underground highway.
yeah, yeah. To me, I'm like, is this a jab at Elon? I think it's a jab at Elon because he has the same idea for LA and like
Hmm.
all the like basically every major metropolitan city to like solve traffic problems is like, yeah, we go underground. And I'm like, I don't know if this is a jab at Elon or whatever, but it's
Might
I
be.
like what they're doing basically of like, no, let's target all these tech billionaires that basically are not thinking about anything other than growing their own shit and ruining the communities around them and all that kind of stuff. And I like that the gang of thieves, so to speak, are like, yeah, the same person that is displacing communities and doing all this and all this kind of stuff. Because Riri is originally like, oh damn, we're taking her on. She's like this,
Hmm.
and then the flip side of it's like, and this is the oppressive nature of it. So we don't care about that. And I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's awesome. Because the
they
great
have a good
thing,
idea
mhm,
in terms of who they're targeting and why, but
yeah,
obviously it's very clear they're the bad guys. So you're like, this is not gonna, this won't, this won't go great. But I do,
yeah,
I do like that initially. You're like, oh, they're thieves, they're all bad guys. But it's like, but they are going after the right types of people. Like,
yeah.
these people do need to be brought down a peg.
But see, this is the thing that I think is like good or bad is about perspective, right? It's about opinion and all that kind of stuff. And this tech billionaire, the one that's doing Tunnel, I'm like, yeah, you're displacing communities, you're doing this. You're definitely seen as the bad guy from a certain population, not from the tech gurus in Silicon Valley and all that kind of stuff, but like from the people that she's displacing, all those like communities and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, they're the bad guy, and then the
I
like
don't even think
thieves
it's that
people.
simple, because
Yeah,
a lot of those people want to be those tech people
yeah,
and actually vote and operate in a way to build those people up, even though it's very clearly within their worst interest.
yes,
So
boom,
I think that, yeah, it's not even that simple. It's just all we can do is talk about in a superhero story. It is easier to be like, this is a good guy, this is a bad guy,
correct.
and enjoy that there is nuance to stuff like that.
Hmm.
But this isn't like the Ant-Man crew where you're like, these are
Mm,
ex-cons who are trying to pay and go legit. It's like,
Sure.
no, these people want to do bad things, and they're like, and if we do it to worse people, then it's fine.
Yep. That's fair.
Because they go through what they want to do when they're done, and like those blood sibling people are still like, we're still gonna have like an underground fight thing. That's like,
Yeah.
is that better? Like, is that a good thing for everybody, or like there's no like unions or like health stuff? It's just like, yeah, we're just gonna have a space for people to beat each other up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're inherently bad people, but it's like they're not out to, like as I said, the Ant-Man crew, where they're like,
Mhm.
we're gonna have a security company and keep people safe. We're
Right.
gonna use what we know in robbing people to keep people safe.
No.
They're like,
Yeah.
I need money so that I can just do whatever the hell I want, which is fine. I'm not
Mhm.
saying that makes them selfish or bad, but it's not the same idea.
Right.
And I
And I
feel
agree
like
with
both
you
of
on
us
that.
can see that they will be a negative influence overall to Riri.
Correct. Yeah. It's not evil in a malicious way. It's just selfish in a I'm gonna take this way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I bring up the whole tech CEO kind of thing. Because I'm like, yeah, they're doing the same thing at a bigger scale, impacting a lot more people. You're absolutely right. They're like everyone's just being selfish in this regard. So I'm like, why is it that those white YouTubers, reviewers, and all those people are missing that point that they bring up in dialogue? I'm like, yeah, this is that not everyone's truly good, not everyone's truly bad. Everyone's really just selfish in this regard. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that this is the tech billionaires are the ones that are held up by society because you're right. From a political standpoint, it's like, yeah, we're gonna vote for to enable you to do that and against our own interests because we want the ability to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
But our chances of doing it are like what Riri says. Is like, yeah, we just don't have the resources to get there. I have the idea and all that kind of no resources, right?
Yeah, and it
Um,
should be like if you're a billionaire, then that's wealth
Wealth
hoarding.
hoarding, yeah.
So it's like you, it becomes less just, oh, that's just selfish, and it does become malicious at a
Yes.
certain point of becoming a billionaire and still looking to make more.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't think anyone should be a billionaire, but that varies from person to person. But I do think
Hmm.
that in general, when you know someone is a billionaire, it's like, well, yeah, that means they truly are exploiting people
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
making decisions that actively put people at a disadvantage.
Yeah. And it's really gross the way they do it because they'll call people different things. Like I remember dating this one person at TD that's like a high level
Mm-hmm.
executive and all that kind of stuff. She was calling employees resources.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm immediately turned off by you permanently because those are people and
Mm-hmm.
you're left leaning and you just dehumanize them and that was gross to me. But that is my point is like that's how the high level people are they're not thinking about people, they're thinking of resources, they're thinking
Exactly.
numbers, they're thinking bottom line, they're thinking profit and all that kind of stuff. So it's you're right at the point of billionaire, it's much more malicious, and that's why I bring that up is like the point of discussion of the wealth inequality in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like everyone is selfish, but Riri's getting criticized for it. And like the Gang of Thieves, even though at scale they can't nearly do anything the way Tunnel is doing or the other business in episode 3.
Yeah. The gang, I would
Mhm.
agree with, but overall, the person they work for is bad as well. Like, he
Correct.
kills Eric Andre so that they don't have to deal with him
Yep.
possibly slipping things up.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, then I don't think it was ever in question whether or not the Hood is a bad guy. Like, he is just a bad guy in the comics.
Mhm.
So you do know. But yeah, I'm interested to see where they go because at the end of the 3 episodes, that Manny Montana guy's gone,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh no. Because if I do have a criticism, I do think that Anthony Ramos and Manny Montana should have switched roles. There's
Yeah,
just
probably.
there's I won't say what I was about to say. I don't want to be mean. I like Anthony Ramos in Hamilton.
Mhm.
I haven't really been able to connect with him outside of Hamilton, and I have seen him in a bunch of things,
Mhm.
including this. I think that and I've seen other people commented on as well that the Hood in the first couple of episodes, you're really kind of just like, that's it.
Yeah,
This
a
is
little
him.
bit.
Like, if he didn't have the powers or anything, it's not the acting that's making you feel anything for the character. It is just like, oh, he can bend bullets. He's got like a crazy thing going on with the tattoos. I think that Manny Montana could bring that with and have all that other stuff. But you would, I feel like he, uh, and I would have said maybe he didn't want to be typecasted, but it's like you're still doing the same thing as
Yeah.
the I don't want to call him a sidekick, but like the other guy. And so like I just wish they switched because I do feel like Manny Montana has the actual acting chops to pull off that other stuff
I
without
would agree. Yeah.
that. So he's gone now, and I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Well, I'm
a lot.
anticipating
It's
one
a lot on
flashback
Anthony Ramos
episode.
now
Yeah, I do anticipate one flashback episode plus
to show like their connection.
yes, yeah, exactly
Because he
that.
said, "Oh, like I kind of like the dialogue for the Hood. I don't really love
Mhm.
the execution overall, but he has moments.
Yeah.
But his whole thing of like, she kind of Riri asks him straight up like, "Hey, what's with the Hood?" And he's just like,
Mhm.
"Protects me and the people I care about. That's all I care about." So
Mhm.
that's I'm assuming that's all you care about too, right? Like,
Mhm.
let's just do you want to make money or not?
Mhm.
um, but then in the last scene in the last episode is him being like, "Hey, man, like I trusted you," and uh, I'm sure we can assume who he's talking to, but he seems really hurt that somebody's whatever bargain he made, it wasn't upheld because now his guy is dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see. No, it's his cousin. I kept being like, is it his brother? No, it's not his
It's
brother.
his cousin.
Cousin
Yeah.
John
Yeah.
is dead now, and I'm just like, all right, I'm interested to see what deal he thought he made,
Right.
because, and so maybe that will be the flashback, if not episode, but just flashback to
Yeah.
see like how that all plays together.
I do anticipate the flashback episode is tied together with the person that we think is involved in the grand scheme of things, and that's just because we do know that magic is supposed to be a part of this and all that kind of
He does
stuff.
say
And
it. It's one of the times where I liked their use of him not really
mhm.
being a guttural performer, but the way he said magic, I'm like, well,
Mhm.
he is supposed to be obfuscate. What am I trying to say here? He's trying to be cloud the muddy the waters here.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it works that it doesn't really feel like he's committing to saying magic,
Mhm.
but also like I feel like someone else could have done this better. But I
Yeah.
do like that she says, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, "Magic." Anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. I
Who cares?
do agree with you. I think the casting there is switched around because I think the acting ability is not quite right for the Hood. But Anthony Ramos being better for the HR cousin, as they call him, the guy. And
Yeah,
I really like that whole thing of like like fire, like what is it, firecracker or something like that. She goes like AKA like my
oh,
parents
clown.
didn't clown. Yeah,
Yeah,
when clown goes like AKA my parents didn't love me, so
so I
like
play with
develop my
knives.
personality around knives. And I love the fact he's like, yeah,
That was
that's
actually
pretty
funny.
good. She got me really good. That was really funny to me. I'm like, yep, that was great.
Yeah,
I laughed so hard.
I think that's the benefit of having the cast they have because it's
Yes.
very yeah, I can't say anything other than it's an exciting cast because even the people I'm
Mhm.
not that familiar with, I'm like, yeah, man, like they're doing a great job.
Mhm.
Like Clown, I don't really know that actor, but she's great.
Neither do I, but I'm just a big fan of what's her face? I'm trying to pull this up right now. Uh Jaren Miller Merle Slug?
Oh, Slug's amazing.
Yeah. So and the reason why I'm like this is so cool that like they were on RuPaul's Drag Race and I think a
Hmm.
winner, right? Of season like
I wouldn't
whatever.
know that, but
Neither would I, but
I
I
just
just saw a
appreciate that
video.
they are there,
Yeah.
and I mean, part of me was like, how come all the queer people of color have to be the bad guys? But then I was like, whatever. You can't always have it be like they can only play good guys.
Yeah. No, they
I
can't.
was like, yeah, you know what? They're great. They're
It's
not completely evil.
no.
I'm enjoying this exciting cast.
And I like what that their dream was is like they want a Michelin star lounge and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, these are all like when I get money, I'm just gonna be selfish with it. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, you're not maliciously bad. You're just like, I want to be selfish with it. I'm like, all right,
Mm,
cool, whatever. I could get down with a little bit of like crime, especially against billionaires.
yeah. Um. So yeah, I also like. This isn't really important, but I do like every time they actually show the name of the show. It like
It's
it.
fun.
The second episode, I was legitimately like, "Is there an Ironheart Street?" Oh, I see what we've done here. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah.
the first the first and last are much more clearly like, hey, this is the name of the show. But for whatever reason, when I saw Ironheart Ave, I'm like, is that why she calls herself Ironheart? No, never mind. It's very
Yeah.
obviously just the name of the show.
Right. No, it's they're doing a really good job with that. I think it's a lot of fun. And I'm like the amount of ground she covers before she get like the amount of time that happens before that intro where she falls on
Hmm.
the ground and all that. I'm like, "Oh, that was a whole like freaking three or four scenes that they covered before
The
they gave the intro of the
the
episode."
episodes are also longer than I thought, which I appreciate. Like
Yeah.
they're like 50, 55 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going into it thinking it's gonna be closer to 30 minutes and
Yeah,
all that kind of
so did
stuff.
I.
And that's why I was so annoyed of like three episodes being released at the same time. I'm like, great. I'm gonna spend an hour and a half watching this and it's gonna be like they should have milked this out a little bit
Then it was like,
differently. But
no,
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna spend
oh
three
wait,
hours.
these are long episodes. I'm like, all right, cool. I had to rewatch them all because they were great. It's fun.
Yeah. Um, Natalie, I really like Natalie. As I
Hmm.
said, I think what's her name, like Lyric Ross or
Lyric
something.
Ross. Mhm.
I know her from This Is Us, where she was just uh, I guess the ne'er do well kid that gets taken in by Sterling K. Brown and his family. But
Sure.
watching her just be joyful in this, I'm like, wow, like this is. I know you're not playing the same character, but it just makes me happy to see you be happy on screen,
Hmm.
even though you're dead. But I really like it, and something I'm that is making me lean in about the show. I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad. Is Riri Williams' refusal to engage with her? I'm like, didn't you make her? What did you like? What was the plan here? You made her to be like this, so
Hmm.
why is this such an upsetting thing for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think because it was because she fell asleep and like it was scanning her brain waves and like it was her own fault that she was thinking so much of
So
Natalie.
she wanted it to be
She wanted to be
what's his
something
face
else.
from she wanted him to be Trevor Noah uh
Yeah.
from Trevor Noah, but also Black Panther movies.
Yeah.
That's
Rio.
who she wanted it to be. But
Yeah.
I'm also just like, feels like you're smart enough to like know that what just happened, and it just feels, as I said, I'm interested and willing to go with it. But I'm like, can you just stop being shitty to her, please?
Well, I mean, this is the and this is what I really, really appreciated about this is like this is what someone with unprocessed trauma would do is like lash out. So I'm like, I do like that element of the writing, but it makes it hard to watch because it's like, yeah, you are being shitty to your best friend. That's
It's
AI and all
I
this kind of
think
stuff.
I think that it's reason I'm not like this is dumb, take it out of
Hmm.
here, is because obviously what you said is true, and that she
Hmm.
needs to process this thing, and it has interesting things like whenever a gun's pulled on them, they freeze or
Yeah.
they can't really deal with it, either one of them.
Hmm.
Um, but I was also like, if it's that upsetting, isn't there a button you can press? Like she keeps being like, "Oh, I'm going to shift you over here." I'm like, what was your plan if things got out of hand? You would be like, well, I guess I just have to deal with this. Like, it feels like there should be a button you can
Right.
press to be like, I'm starting over.
Well, see, this is the thing too, is it's like, yeah, you wouldn't do that because you never got to say goodbye to your best friend either. And then it's just like,
Yes.
well, you're and that's the biggest thing. I do suspect that Natalie is probably going to change by the end of the season. Like it's not going to be her and all that kind of stuff. And that basically Dominique, and this is why I brought up the Civil War thing, like the
The horror
Mysterio
thing,
tech,
yeah.
is that I think this is going to be a healing journey for her
Mm-hmm.
through for Riri and all this kind of stuff, and it's going to be really, really challenging because she gets to do this with Natalie, but not her stepdad. You know what I
Well,
mean? I
yeah, the
think,
mom specifically asked, "Can you make me a Gary?" And I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
rough stuff."
that is rough. And like I do like that discussion because there are like those in the tech world, there is that idea of like, hold on, if you are dying, can you program an AI to be like you and carry on after your death and all that kind of stuff? Like in the therapy world, they're like, is that helpful or is it regression? Is that holding
Hmm.
someone back? And I'm like, these discussions are really, really cool from a theoretical standpoint, but seeing it played out here is with characters and all that kind of stuff in this world is super interesting to me because like they're
But
definitely looking at
for
the
me, for
ethics
the
of
mom,
AI as well.
I'm like, I don't know, kind of deserves it at this point. Like, let her have it. But
Yeah.
I know, I also they make a point of talking about how that could literally kill her if she did it again.
Yeah.
But so I'm not like hoping that at the end of the season she makes a Gary. It's more
Mhm.
just because I actually like these characters. For the mom, I'm like, I mean, she's pretty understanding. Like there's no real tension about like, hey, you got kicked out of school. She's the one that brings it up first. Like, I know you got kicked out of school. Like,
Mhm.
and she's like, I paid a janitor to look out for you. So
I
like,
love that so much.
um, he told me, and it's like, okay, so like this isn't gonna be one of those things where she's like, oh, like I disagree with it. She's like, oh my god, like you did it. You made an AI version of your best friend. That is
Mhm.
amazing. I love
Mhm.
that. Also, do one for me. But it's like I feel like even in the moment she processes like maybe I shouldn't have asked that. But I just like her because she's not playing the nagging parent.
Mhm.
She's just trying to be a good parent
Mhm.
to someone who's university age. So like it's you can't really be like you're grounded or anything like that. It's just like I need to just guide you in the right way.
Yeah, yeah, because it's like it's one of the, and I like what you just said about the parent thing because it's just like I've been in situations where it's like, yeah, lecture right now is not the thing I need. It's I need love and empathy, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like what the mom does for her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like recognizes I can't yell this out of you. I know you, and this
Mm-hmm.
is who you are. I need to guide you and all this kind of stuff, and that's really really great because never do aside from like a couple of like jabs, verbal jabs, and it's like, oh, you're like Black Ops, like, and that's not even from the mom. That's from her like girlfriends and all this kind of stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, Black Obsidian's really good for people that get kicked out of like university. I'm like, this is so good. This is such a dry exchange. I love
Mm-hmm.
it so much. It's funny. It's great.
But yeah, I hope Natalie stays, but also
Mhm.
I don't know if we're gonna get another season of this.
Yeah, I don't know
I feel like
either.
it's just done. I
Yeah.
think we know there was the whole changing of the guard at Marvel, and this
Yeah.
was under the bad regime that did shit things.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the product, I just mean how they treated everybody and how they treated the approach to it.
Yes.
That was what was the shit that they did.
Yeah.
Um, so Thunderbolts was I think the first thing they did in the new regime. We
Yeah.
saw that that was quality, but they might
Mhm.
get scared because it didn't do well at the box office. And
Yeah.
next is Fantastic Four, which is also good. So
Mhm.
like, or I mean, looks good.
Mhm.
So we'll see.
We'll,
And
we'll
then
see.
the
Yeah.
next season of Daredevil will be under this new regime as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll see. I just think, especially when I saw it being review bombed and everything, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're just done with this, and maybe she'll show up in a Young Avengers type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that
Or
seems pretty female led,
champions.
so I doubt that's going to be made too.
I no, what I do believe they're going to get made. I just think that the idea, like what we can expect from the new regime changes, like yeah, they've said it, they're focusing less on quantity, less more on quality, and now that they've built, because a lot of those decisions were based on how to push Disney Plus, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like content and all that kind of stuff. And now that they have, to my mind, procured enough, but their numbers are saying no, it's still not financially feasible yet. And I'm like, okay, what does that really mean from your
Well,
corporate
streaming
talk?
services aren't financially
Yeah,
feasible. Everyone
I
saw Netflix, and then they were like, "Yeah, we can do that," and then they're like, "Oh, I see,
yeah,
I see what happened."
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
There's like
that's
there's a limit to this. It's not
so they're
like
not lying when they
yeah,
say it's not enough. It's just
yeah. They're
what are
they're
they gonna do now?
yeah they're well, yeah, and that's a discussion for a different kind of thing. But to me, I'm like, okay, at least the new regime knows to focus on quality. So I do know that we're probably going to get Riri Williams again, but in more like crossover kind of stuff where
Yeah,
she's
well,
not the
they
main
like
character, I
she's
think.
part of the like if you do a Disney cruise or a Marvel
Hmm.
cruise, like it's her what's her name, Stature, as in Ant-Man's daughter, and
Yep.
probably Ms. Marvel like hanging out. Like you,
Hmm.
that's like part of the show.
Yep.
But obviously for them, that's like, yeah, we filmed you one time and we can just keep doing this, and
Hmm.
you could just be happy you get those royalty checks or whatever.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But my way of saying this is I do agree we're probably not going to get a season two, and it's not because of the review bombs. I think it's just because it's the regime change and all that kind of stuff. But I am glad that we're getting this because the great thing about the review, what was it on Rotten Tomatoes? I think it was something like 28%, and then when it came out, it jumped all the way up to like 71. Because like the people that actually watched it, like instead of review bombing it, and it's just throwing off everything. And I'm like, yeah, it's real crappy that people are review bombing before it's even out and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, you're just showing your cards. It's gross.
I mean, it's still just at 3.8
Yeah,
on IMDb with
correct.
11,000 views. So it's
Yeah.
I think your take is generous to the people in charge. I think they
Hmm.
are always looking for any reason to not have to do something that could be interesting to anybody but white men.
Yep, I
So
agree.
I do think that review bombs and stuff like that do factor in to results,
Yeah.
like because it is the disingenuous way of being like, see, look, people don't like it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They'll take that. They'll take whatever. They'll cherry pick whatever data that serves their underlying narrative, and
Yeah, and
it's
they were one of the
probably right.
first companies to gladly be like, yeah, we'll roll back all the DEI stuff,
Yep.
which doesn't mean they don't make things with black people, but it does mean that obviously someone that's so, or a company that's so willing to roll that back may look to make things look a little different on screen as well.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It's going to show up within their work and all that kind of stuff. So we will see. You're right. I am being a little bit more generous to regime change, but either way, it is what it is. But yeah, I think that the really interesting thing about this show so far is that discussion between the class war and all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I
Yeah.
think is really fascinating. Other people are definitely not engaging in that as much, but I think it's just genuinely fascinating.
Yeah, I like that it's about something, just as you said, and
Mhm.
that we are learning about Riri's world and not necessarily. And I do like that it means that we're not focused on Marvel in that way. Like
Mhm.
because we're only getting 6 episodes here, it's nice that they're just focused on telling the story about Riri and her world.
Yep.
I, as I think I said last episode when we talked about Spawn, just the investment in the title character means a lot. Like whether or
Mhm.
not you want to just make them look cooler or actually have people care about them, um, feels like the reason to do specifically TV.
Mhm.
Like that's the medium that historically people say that's people inviting you into their home. It's different than going out to the movie
Mhm.
to see them. You're inviting someone into your home. You do have a closer bond when it's that. I mean, obviously, streaming and the lack of appointment viewing has taken some of that away, but it still is inviting someone into your home.
Yes. Yeah. It's an easier, less formal way to engage with it, which is
And
always going to break down barriers a little bit better.
and the fact that it is like it comes out at 9 p.m. Eastern as opposed to just when you wake up
Mhm.
it's ready for you like other streaming.
Mhm.
A bit of appointment viewing there.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just think that it is not a TV show, obviously. Like this very clearly feels like this could have been a movie, and I'm not saying it
Yeah.
should be, but we're getting the time, especially with the longer episode
Mhm.
um, run times, means that we're getting the time with the characters, and I
Mhm.
appreciate it. So they're doing that part of it well as
Yeah.
well, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I think the biggest mistake was calling them seasons. and not series. Because I think if it was a
Uh,
series thing, then I'm like, all right, cool. Then the whole world's gonna be okay with like not getting a season two
this
about
is
it.
listed as a TV miniseries.
Okay, that's good. All right, that's fair. That
I
works.
think all of them. I think all of them. Loki broke that because
Sure.
Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision were both considered miniseries
Hmm.
or yeah, whatever the other word is called, limited series.
Hmm.
Then Loki broke that by being like, instead of a post credit scene, here's us telling you Loki season 2 is coming. Then that kind of opened things up.
Right.
But
Hmm.
I think all of the Disney Plus stuff initially was seen as these are limited series.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, no, this is a great cast. It's a lot of fun. They're doing a lot of really, really exciting, fun things. I can't wait to see what's going to come up, whether or not we do get the Mephisto reveal and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah, I guess we
or
could talk
whatever.
about that. I know
Yeah,
people tend to say it can't happen because they won't get the Chinese uh, audience, but
sure.
I just feel like they don't. That's not going to factor in, especially on a show that they're dumping within 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I
so
think they're like, who cares?
I completely agree with that. I don't think the Chinese audience thing is a factor. And my reasoning with that, I'm like, all right, well, they made Agatha, and that's about
Yeah.
witches, and that's also not
Mm-hmm.
allowed. But the Chinese band thing, I'm like, first and foremost, I think that applies towards movies differently
Yeah,
than it
where
does
they
to
need the
TV.
box office. This
Yeah.
is streaming. This
Yeah,
is like, okay, who
streaming,
cares if
they don't care. But on a movie standpoint, where they do want the Chinese money, then they're going to play by the Chinese rules
Mhm.
for sure. Because like this is not going to be streamed in China on Disney Plus. And Disney Plus, I don't even know if it's available in China. But to me, I'm like, yeah, they don't care about what they do with the streaming. So like we probably could, but how that leads into or crosses over with the movie world is that's the part that like yeah we're never going to get Mephisto in a movie that they
Like
also
he
plan
won't
to
be able to be
launch
a
in
lead.
China.
Like he would be in it in a way they could cut around him if need be.
Yes,
Yeah,
or
like he would just be a thing that happens.
yeah,
Not
or they it's a very clear win against Mephisto. And I'm like, even then that's just like, oh, okay, that's not great. And there's different ways of doing it, right? But
got it.
it's
Yeah.
just yeah, but it's what I'm saying is if there's going to be a Mephisto reveal, it's going to happen. And it doesn't matter whether or not the Chinese
Yeah.
censorship things
Oh,
are
I agree
there.
with you.
Yeah.
I would say any Disney Plus thing is open for Mephisto.
Yeah. 100% agree.
And as we said, Agatha, which I really loved, was never gonna be on on Chinese TVs in that
No,
capacity.
yeah, and not only that, it's just like okay, another censorship rule, and this is what I hate about the Chinese censors, but you can't have an LGBT
Mm-hmm.
relationship, and then Agatha is that, and then
Yeah.
here you have a non-binary person in the show, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't meet Chinese standard censorship laws and all that kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. So it's just like this show was never gonna make it to China
Yeah.
ever unless
This
it's
is
like black label like DVDs and all that kind of stuff, which is underground, which is again, yeah, it's never going to be approved by Chinese censors.
yeah. I would say anything, but especially this show, the way they're treating it, I was like, they could put whatever they want in here. They don't
Yeah,
care
they
about
don't
this.
care.
I don't feel like they care about this show.
China this does not care about this show.
I mean, Marvel doesn't care about this show, but yeah,
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler cared about it as he fostered
Yes.
the making of this. I'm not saying he wrote it. I know he's
Mhm.
just the executive producer, but
Mhm.
I do think that, I mean, outside of Space Jam 2, things that he puts his name on, he like cares about
Yes.
greatly
Yeah.
and holds them to a certain standard.
And I can clearly see him having a lot of influence on the underwater shooting episode in episode 3, where Riri's like underwater and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, okay. He probably consulted like this is how they shot underwater for Wakanda Forever and all that kind of stuff. And still had like, hey, advised on stuff with the whole production. But yeah,
I do want to
it's
talk about that. I
yeah.
so the big thing here is Natalie constantly being like, "You shouldn't trust the hood," and then they piece together because the cops literally come to her house, being like, "Yo, Eric Andre's dead, and you're the last person to try and contact him." And Natalie's like, see what I mean now? And she's like,
Yeah.
shit, I should have put this together sooner. So they were like, let's cut his hood so that we can examine it and see
Hmm.
what's going on. And she goes to back to Zeke to be like, I need something.
Hmm.
Uh, I did like that people pointed out that his thing is to do organic material as opposed
Hmm.
to his dad's ironmonger style.
Yeah.
So he gives her something so she can hide the laser she's going to use
Hmm.
because a big part of the heist that cousin John rightfully said we should not do it uh, was you can't bring in like these foreign objects into it. No, basically no weapons.
Hmm.
And Riri gets in there, but I feel like during the heist, I was just like, come on, stop. Just stop. You got to stop. Because they give you the nice meter of like, hey, foreign object detected. Foreign. And I'm like, okay, this is, you should just give up now. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, this was a not very well thought out thing. You
Hmm.
thought of how you're going to get it in, but you didn't think about what happens once you're already in with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, come on. And again, I'm not saying this to be like, so fuck this character. She's a narcissist. It was just like, I care about you and you're putting yourself in a lot of danger here. Like I was even stressed out
Hmm.
about like how even are you gonna get out of here? I didn't like you're sealed in there. Like what are you gonna
Yeah.
do? But yeah, she was really uh stressing me out during that episode. But yeah,
Hmm.
she tries to cut it and she doesn't even realize she has cut it. So she's like still going like zzz, and I'm like, oh
Hmm.
my goodness. And it locks down the whole facility and what do they put? Carbon monoxide?
Yeah.
Uh,
Dioxide.
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 There
Yeah.
we go. I knew I
Hmm.
was gonna get it wrong. Carbon dioxide in there to try and kill everyone off, and she makes sure that Natalie running the suit saves everybody, but then
Hmm.
she gets caught by cousin John. So she's like, "Well, you're gonna stay here then, I guess."
Yeah.
And as I brought up earlier, when they tried to kill someone just out of convenience, I'm like, "Well, seems like you did that too, Riri." When it
Yeah.
came down to it.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, we'll have to see how that trajectory goes in
Yeah,
terms of
because at the end of episode 3, Parker, the Hood,
yeah,
like has this weird visual hallucination of like seeing Cousin John die and seeing that the Ironheart armor and all that kind of stuff. So he knows that
yeah,
it's
he's
like
like, oh, that's who
Ironheart that
killed
did
him.
it. Yeah, so it's just like, oh, okay, now we're going kind of somewhere, right?
Yeah,
But
the second half will be purely the Hood going after her.
yeah, yeah, and we do know that there's one more heist from like the trailer material and all that kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff. So I don't know if he's gonna go after her during the heist and all that kind of stuff. But
What does seem like the because I feel like early on they talk about needing patsies, so
yes.
maybe he can just maybe the heist is the one where he's like, and now this is how we take her down.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm a bit worried about where her moral compass is when she's like, I'm just gonna let this guy die. And it's like, I understand in the moment what are you gonna do, but I'm just like, it's gonna be a slippery slope. I feel.
Yeah, and the thing that I think was the worst was the fact that it's like when she gets out, she like pretends like she doesn't know, and then she scans, is like, "Oh, sorry, Parker, like this is the situation." And I'm like, "Yeah, so you're covering that up.
Hmm.
That's some evil shit right there.
Yeah, I guess she could
That's
have
the
been like, hey, you
problem."
gotta go get him. I can't right now
Yeah,
or something like that. I don't know.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's that'll be interesting.
Hmm.
I'm I'm as I said, I'm interested to see how things develop with Natalie.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I really like Natalie.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm just like interested to see how the magic and the tech are going to come together at some point because that
Yeah,
is the thing that's supposed to happen. And I'm like, interesting, magic and tech coming together, right?
I was thinking as the third episode was ending, like I wish this was also 9 episodes, like
Hmm.
Daredevil. Like it just feels like it needs a bit more time, but maybe we would get to end of 9 because it was too long. So let's
Hmm.
hope they use their time wisely.
Yeah, yeah. I think the fact that it's 6 episodes, but that they're close to 1 hour long episodes is like doing it's easing my kind of thing on like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, are they going to be able to explore this properly? And because now I'm like, okay, 3 episodes left, 3 hours left. I think they've got plenty of time to like really figure out what's going on with this Ezekiel Stain character.
Because
What's
he's
gonna
just like a full-on bad guy in the comic.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
he
very
is.
interested to see if they go that route, or because I've also seen people say
Mhm.
that her advice to him could lead him down to the path of being like
Oh,
forgetting
absolutely.
to care about people in his decision making.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That I can definitely see that, right? I'm very curious to see how what happens with Xavier because I really like that his character right now. I know what his relation to the whole thing is, but like at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, I just really like his character. I think
Oh,
he's really
it's
really
like
cool.
the headphones guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really liked when she used her heist money to buy him what she thought was a nice gift, and he was just like,
yeah,
I don't want to erase Natalie. Like these are all like this is Natalie to me, so
mhm.
I'm gonna keep this. Thank you very much, though.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. It's good. It's good stuff. But yeah, and I also do have to highlight that young Landon character, the guy that shakes her down for like, yeah,
Oh,
you owe me 20
the
bucks
wagon guy.
for yeah, the wagon. I'm like, this kid's a hustler. I love him. He's great.
Yeah,
He's so much fun.
it was. I like him, but the sequence of events of her being on the train and then only once she was on the train thinking of covering up the suit, I was like, but everyone has already seen it. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think's gonna happen?
She does
Feels
some
like you're
real dumb
inviting people to
things.
try and rob you now.
She does some real dumb things
It's
during that
like
whole sequence for sure.
you were fine up until now, so covering it up makes it seem like it's worth stealing now.
Yeah. It's like, no, we can all see that it's busted up, and ain't nobody's gonna be like, oh, I know how to fix that, except for you. So it's just like, no, now it's kind of like, okay, if you want something to get stolen, put a bike lock on it in the
Hmm.
wrong neighborhood, and like it'll get stolen. But if you leave it just on the street, it's like, I ain't taking your trash.
Yeah,
But you put a bike lock on it, it's like,
yeah.
oh,
Like, what's wrong
oh,
with
I
it?
gotta steal this.
Why are
Yeah,
you
and
trying to
this is
give it away?
mine
What's wrong
now.
with it?
It's great logic. I love it. But Landon, he's great. I like that little kid. Sure. A little
He's good.
hustler. Yeah.
Um, yeah. We since we're not rating it, I just enjoy what we've seen so far.
Yep.
I'm hoping they can stick the landing. It does, as I mentioned earlier, like kind of in a roundabout way, this is definitely a movie they broke up into 6 episodes. So
Hmm.
I'm hoping that it doesn't feel like they just rushed to the end in the
Hmm.
last 3 episodes.
Hmm.
But they're still introducing me to cool characters that I care about,
Yep.
and I'm invested.
Yeah, I'm having a blast with this. This is really, really great. Screw those review bombers. They can go to hell. That in with Mephisto. But the idea there's like no, and I'm just so happy that it jumped up to 71% afterwards. Obviously, there's like math stuff going on there, but I'm like, yeah, this show is actually really good. It's just like I'm sorry that white men just don't see themselves in this, but I'm like, guess what? You see yourselves in anime characters too. What are we talking about here? It's like the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah, there's somehow a disconnect when it's not a male lead.
Yeah, it's just the most ridiculous thing ever. But what are we gonna do?
Just keep putting out our thoughts, and hopefully that helps other people
Yep,
feel not alone.
yep. But either way, I
Yeah,
hope those people get some help.
yeah. Well,
They need some help.
for all of our sakes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's my point. I'm like, no, they need some help. Please go get it. I empathize. I'm very very empathetic towards their situation, but they need help, and I'm not the one that's gonna go ahead and do it.
No, no. It's
Not my job.
not to be shunned, but also not particularly our job to help them out. There's professionals for that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Get a qualified professional, get some help, start loving. But yeah,
Or at the very least, don't interact with things you don't like. Just keep yourself
man,
happy.
it's just I just wish we weren't in a world of like clickbait or rage bait kind of stuff because unfortunately the rage bait does make the dollars go up.
See, because I see that as different than review bombing. Because there's no
Mhm.
like, sure, someone could pay you to review bomb, but like, what are they going to pay you for one review? Like, that's more of like everyone's getting paid.
Yeah.
The rage baiting and the clickbaiting, that's where you're getting the money. So that feels different than
Yeah.
a review bomb. And it's like, yeah,
I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
write an article, I guess, if that's what you want to do.
Because at least if you're clickbait or rage baiting or something like that, you're engaging with it enough to be like, okay, we're going to use the headline thing to get your attention and process this differently. But the review,
this post will get a bunch of engagement that makes sure that I get paid or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, all of that stuff is different to me than review bombing, because
review bombing is just cowardice.
Like, oh, remember this review by like asshat 37? Like, no, I don't know. I just see the end results.
Yeah, the review bombing is just way worse, because to me it's just cowardice. It's just like, that's the worst part about it. The clickbait and all that. I'm like, all right, you gotta get your money. Sure, I can understand
that's
that.
More of this is the environment we've created.
Yeah.
Unless, can you get help, please?
Yeah. And I'm just like, please.
They still need help.
They need help. But it's help.
Like, if that's how you're gonna get paid, whatever, man.
It's a shitty way to get paid, but
yes,
people gotta eat, and I can understand that, right? But I'm just like, no, get some help. Get some help at the end of the day, and put your energy towards more productive things.
Yeah, make an Ironheart suit.
Yeah.
Or bring back your friends or loved one through AI.
Yeah.
Do that.
Or go run a marathon if you're not willing to see someone about it.
There you go. Physical exercising of demons.
Yep. It's very helpful. Mm-hmm. There is research now proving how helpful it is for that kind of stuff. But either way, not the point of this. I'm just bringing it all back. I am excited to see how this ends. I am it's just a real sucky thing that I'm like, oh, 2 drops.
Yeah, I don't like
that.
But whatever. I'm like, let's hope that she comes back in other things, as you said.
I genuinely hope that would be the case. But yeah, for now, I'm just glad we have this, because it's a lot better than what the review bombers out there would let you think.
Yeah, I'm glad we have it. I would rather have it than not have it. I just, like you, bummed out by these circumstances and what I can feel will happen with this world that we're living in. Because even if we see Riri again, we might not see this world again, which is upsetting.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Because they did a great job. They really, really did. So far. Anyways, we will judge it as a whole when we get to that episode. But like you said at the top of the episode, there's going to be a delay. There's going to be Superman and Lois for next season 4, next episode, and then the episode after that, Superman, and then we're going to get to this, and then Fantastic Four afterwards.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, you have anything else to say?
Nope.
I'll cut you off. All right.
Nope. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening, everybody. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok at TDF Spoiled. Our website is tdfeverything.com/spoiledrotten. You'll find different ways to connect with us, all the episodes. Trust me, there's no episode you won't be able to find there. And then please go on all the different podcast platforms that you use, rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends, do all that good stuff, follow. And yeah, just let us know. Did I mention the email? You can email us at spoiledpodcast@gmail.com. So there's ways to get in touch with us.
That's right.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
This has been a TDF Everything production, brah.